When I first installed this Tosot mini split AC in my wood shop, it was a complete game changer. I would tell anyone who asks, this is my favorite tool in the shop. But as the projects got bigger, the tools got beefier, it just wasn't keeping up in this South Florida weather. It's running 24/7, 365 trying to keep up. So I think we can come up with a better solution. So today, I'm upgrading to Tosot's 12,000 BTU unit. And something I'm really excited about, their ERV Fresh Air Module. This is perfect for me or anyone that doesn't have any windows. I have no windows in this shop, so this will not only help with the cooling power, but inevitably when it gets a little smoky in here, maybe the blade's a little dull, gets a little, wouldn't happen to me. This will help take the bad air out and bring the fresh air in, always circulating. Super excited about this. If you've been thinking about installing or upgrading a mini split in your own space, follow along. I'll walk you through the whole process from removing the old unit to wiring and mounting the new system. I didn't mention this in my original video, but I highly recommend these little leak detectors. They come like 6 for a pack for like 30 bucks, so $5 each. I put them under every sink and every water source in the house. This has already saved me more than one time. I thought it was one of my kids' toys going off. I hear a beep, beep, beep. Like, what is that? And I come out and sure enough, the mini split had just started to leak. So a few drips here. So it caught me and saved me from a big leak. So highly recommend. First things first, power off. I shut down the breaker inside the shop and then I pulled the outdoor disconnect just to be safe. Before touching any of the lines, I did something that future me will absolutely appreciate. I vacuumed out the condensate drain line to clear any leftover water. Next step is pumping down the system. Definitely wear gloves here. Even when you do everything right, a little refrigerant can escape and that stuff gets cold fast. This pulls the refrigerant back into the condenser so it's stored safely in the compressor and not sitting in the copper lines, or worse, vented out into the atmosphere. All right, man, go for it. I watched a few walkthrough videos beforehand and decided to handle it myself since I already had the gauges and vacuum pump. But if this part feels even slightly outside your comfort zone, this is where calling a licensed technician makes total sense. Once the system was pumped down, we disconnected the copper lines and the electrical wiring. At that point, we were basically home free. Or so I thought. While removing the hurricane straps, a Florida must, one of the Tapcons broke off in the concrete. Uh-oh. Not ideal, but also not a deal breaker. I grabbed the Sawzall, cut it flush, and kept moving. And this is something I've really been working on, not letting small problems turn into big momentum killers.
Thank you, James.
Stuff goes wrong in projects, like a lot of the time. That's normal. What matters is not letting a tiny issue hijack the entire plan. This condenser was coming out one way or the other. The screw just chose the loud way. With the line covers off, we headed back inside to remove the air handler. This is where having two people makes life so much easier. James fed the lines in from the outside while I guided the unit from the inside. Nice and slow. And just like that, the old system officially out.
Okay.
Now that the old system is out, we can start to prep for the ERV module. Tosot includes a cardboard drilling template, which makes layout straightforward. James lined that all up first, and luckily we were able to reuse the existing hole for the copper lines and drain. One less opening to make in the wall, which I'll happily take. For the fresh air openings, I start small. I use a long, skinny drill bit to make a pilot hole from the inside out. That way I can confirm I'm landing exactly where I want on the exterior, ideally on a flat section of siding, not a seam or a trim board. Once that pilot hole is through, I switch to a 2.5-inch hole saw. I cut from the inside first, then move outside and finish the hole using that same pilot hole as a guide. This will leave you with clean edges on both sides, which of course will now be all covered up. But I will know just how clean they are. Alright, so we're hooking up the fresh air module to our air handler. The directions say if it doesn't come with the cord pre-installed that you need to open everything up and install the cord. Lucky for us, it was pre-installed. However, what the directions don't tell you is that, why doesn't these connections fit? I don't want to tell you how long we spent trying to figure out why don't these connections fit. There's a cover on them. You need to pop the cover off of them. I guess it's to protect the pins. So we need to pop this cover off of them, and then you can pull this piece off. Now these pieces, I'll do the same on this side, and now they'll connect. It feels like every decade or so, the industry changes refrigerants as they learn more about environmental impacts. And that's exactly what's happening here. My old system ran on R410A, but this new Tosot unit comes pre-charged with R32. And just to clarify, the pre-charge is stored in the compressor, not in the copper lines. So until everything is connected and opened up, the refrigerant stays sealed inside the outdoor unit. It's more efficient and has a lower environmental impact, and it's one of the reasons the new system requires a fresh set of copper lines. Once the line sets were unrolled and straightened out, we started connecting them to the indoor unit. I added a small amount of nylon sealant to the flare fittings, not the threads, just to help ensure a tight, leak-free seal. Then everything gets snugged down firm but not forced. After that, we bundled the copper lines and drain hose together using the fabric wrap that comes with the kit. This definitely makes it easier to feed through the wall without anything catching or kinking. Last step before pushing it all outside is wiring the indoor unit. I ran the wires through from the back while James tightened everything down based on the wiring diagram. Double checking that part is critical. It's quick to do and it prevents a lot of troubleshooting later. Once that's done, the system is officially ready to make its way outside. With James's help, we fed the line set through the exterior wall while getting the air handler lifted onto the mounting bracket. This is one of those steps that can be done solo, I guess, but let me tell you, it's a whole lot better with an extra set of hands. Between guiding the lines, keeping them from kinking, and lining the unit up with a bracket, there's just a lot happening at once. And holding it over your head gets heavy quick. I usually do everything in my shop by myself. A little more. But this would have taken twice as long and probably involved a few words I try not to say on camera. So shout out to my cousin James for coming through, as always. Once the unit clicks into place, now that's a good feeling. From here on out, it finally starts to look like a real install again. Next up was mounting the ERV module. After marking and drilling the holes, I installed the exterior mounting cage first, just to make sure everything lined up clean on the outside. Then I moved back inside and I cut the PVC exhaust pipes to length on the miter saw. The fresh air feature was a big selling point for me. Since my shop doesn't have any windows, being able to bring in clean air without opening the overhead garage door is a huge win. Especially when I'm doing large amounts of cutting or sanding and the air starts to feel heavy. This system gives you a lot of flexibility too. You can mount the ERV module on either side of the air handler using the built-in knockouts, and there's plenty of cord length to work with. It could also mount directly against the air handler nice and tight, but due to my exterior siding, I chose to offset mine slightly. I needed it to land in the middle of a siding board instead of right on a seam. It's a small detail that some may overlook when they're doing the install, but it keeps everything cleaner, more weather tight, and better looking in the long run. Before moving on, I want to do a little preventative maintenance. This is one of those small steps that doesn't look exciting on camera, but it can save you a lot of headaches down the road. I used a combination of caulk and spray foam to seal up any gaps around the wall penetrations, just to make sure nothing unwanted finds its way into the shop. You know, critters, moisture, drafts, none of them are on the guest list. After that, I reinstalled the line chase cap, which covers a power cable and line sets as everything exits the house. It keeps things protected, clean, and out of the weather. Then I ran a little extra caulk around the ERV module and the line chase cap. Is it overkill? Maybe. But in my shop, overkill usually just means fewer problems later. Now it's time to hook up the condenser. While James gets started on the wiring, I take care of one of the more satisfying parts of the job. Popping out the knockouts so the electrical whips can pass through. The wiring diagrams in the manual are very straightforward. They'll vary a bit depending on whether you're running 120 volt or 230 volt setup from your panel, but everything is color-coded, clearly labeled, and super easy to follow. This is the second Tosot system I've installed, and I can honestly say the instructions do a great job walking you through it step by step. Even if this kind of work isn't something that you do every day, the whole install is very manageable as long as you take your time and double check your connections. Once the wiring was handled, I moved on to reconnecting the copper lines. I added another small amount of nylon sealant to the flare fittings. Again, just on the flare itself, not the threads, to help ensure a good seal. Then the lines get tightened down nice and snug. This is another one of those steps where patience really pays off, because a clean connection here means no leaks and no callbacks later. With the electrical and refrigerant lines connected, the system is starting to look complete. From here, it's just a few more steps before we can bring it to life. This is the step that saves you real money. With the vacuum pump, manifold gauges, and an adapter, all linked below, you can do this properly instead of relying on other brands that skip it. I'm no expert and there are plenty of deep dive videos on this process, but here's the short version. One hose goes to the condenser through an adapter, the other goes to the vacuum pump using those gauges. You run the pump until you hit a negative 30 psi, and then you shut it off and wait about 30 minutes.
All right, so the vacuum held. I had it on the vacuum for 30 minutes, and then I took it off for another 20, maybe 30 minutes, and it held. It never moved. So that should mean we don't have any leaks. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna crack it a little bit. I have some soapy water, and I'll pour that on the joints to see if there's any leaks at the joints. And hopefully I don't see any, and we will crack it all the way open.
Before calling it done, I want to do one last leak check. I borrowed my son's water bottle, mixed up a little dish soap and water, and sprayed down all the flare connections. Nothing fancy, we're just looking for bubbles. I cracked the service valves open slowly to pressurize the lines, then I watched closely. No bubbles means no leaks, which is exactly what I wanted to see.
Looks good.
Once everything looked good, I fully opened the valves and checked one more time with the soapy water, just to be safe. Still looking good. After that, all the caps went back on to protect the fittings. I covered the connections and I reinstalled the disconnect. We have one last step inside before powering everything up, and that's upgrading the breaker. Since I moved from a 9,000 BTU unit to a 12,000 BTU unit, the system needs a little more current, so I swapped in a 30 amp double pole breaker. Before doing anything in the panel, I shut off each breaker individually one at a time, before I shut down the main. That helps avoid a power surge to anything that might still be plugged in when everything comes back on. I also use a voltage tester to make sure the wires I'm going to be touching are actually dead. These little testers are worth their weight in gold. Not just for bigger projects like this, but for general work around the house too. Now I felt comfortable handling this part myself, but if you don't, this is a great time to call an electrician. Everyone has their line with electrical work, and this is about where mine is. For the original mini split install, I hired an electrician to run the circuit from the panel out to the disconnect. So don't feel like you need to do every step yourself. The goal is a clean, safe install, and knowing your limitations is very important. With everything connected, I finished reinstalling the rest of the line chase outside, screwing all the trim places back in so everything stays protected and clean. Then it was time to lock the condenser down for good. I headed back into the shop to grab some blue tap guns for my screw storage, hit the tool wall for the drill, and loaded up the masonry bit. Once I was happy with the spacing, I started drilling new holes. This condenser has a different footprint than the old one, so that stubborn screw from earlier won't be in the way anyway. I reused one of the original holes and then drilled 3 new ones to match the new base. 4 anchors in total, solid and ready for the next hurricane. Nah, just kidding, please don't come for us, please. So it's been about a month since I've installed a new unit in the shop, and the 12K BTU model is definitely keeping up with everything the shop is putting out. And I would also say that the air is noticeably cleaner from the ERV module. It's obviously something I should have done sooner. Tosot really makes this install very doable for any DIYer. Using a simple vacuum pump will save you hundreds of dollars, if not more, and I'll link everything you need for that process down below. Those are affiliate links, so if you buy through those links, they will help the channel out at no extra cost to you. It's much appreciated. Like I mentioned in my first AC install video, if you're looking to put one of these mini splits in your space, it's extremely straightforward with just a little bit of planning. Hopefully my video will give you the confidence you need to tackle this project. So here's to a shop that's cooler, cleaner, and ready for whatever you throw at it next. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time.